Zuzu, this is not a party.
This is a party.
This is not.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party.
No. Zuzu.
Come on.
She just wants to be, okay.
Barbie's all about the party, she's all about the pooches.
Hiya, Mimi here, and today we have special guest, Lazy Fox Art, aka Paige.
Hi!
Why do we have this person here today?
Because we are going to see the Barbie movie, and I am a massive lover of all things Barbie, and so my beautiful friend here was like, hey, let's go and do a Barbie interview. So I'm like, sure.
Definitely. I can't see the Barbie movie with anyone else. I would be killed.
Yeah, I would definitely come for you.
For our Barbie history, I thought we would start with, just to kind of get the lowdown on what we grew up with. I started by, I had a few Barbies, and then I've watched about like 7 Barbie movies from my count. I've watched like the main like beginner 3 of like the Rapunzel, Nutcracker. And
it's a respectable amount.
Yeah, it's kind of a normal amount, I feel like.
It's a good beginner, it's a good starting point.
Yeah. So I've seen like the main like 3, like the ballet ones, and then a few here and there, like kind of later, like randomly when I wanted to like check in on like
just see
what's
going
on with the Barbie world. But
just see where the production's at.
Yeah, it's at a weird point.
I have to agree. I'm not such a massive fan of the new ones. I'm really sorry for anyone who likes those, but I'm always a classic girly.
Yeah, I think it also helps like we grew up with the ones that we watched, that it's really easy to go back to them, but watching the new ones is odd.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
The new ones kind of feel a little bit trippy these days.
Yeah.
Because obviously we grew up with like the original fairy tales like Swan Lake, Rapunzel, you know, the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
So some of the new ones are a little bit strange by comparison.
Definitely. But they're still like making them, so someone must like them. I don't know if they don't go to, did they ever go to movies? Like, did they ever go to like the cinema in the beginning? I think they're all direct,
I think they've all been direct. So do you remember the really controversial Barbie doll with, I think it was Midge originally, or was it? So Midge was the original, and then they did.
Interesting name.
Oh, it's Barbie's best friend.
Okay.
She'll be in the movie.
Don't add men into that, but.
she and her husband Alan will be in the Barbie movie. Just get excited.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
okay.
spoilers.
Wow.
But there originally was this controversy like years ago with Midge because she had a pregnancy doll where the belly was detachable and the baby would sit inside and then she'd be able to give birth.
I had that.
Yeah.
I definitely had that.
Yeah, I had the reproduction one a few years later where it was Barbie and she had a baby. She didn't have the pregnancy belly or anything.
Like a magnet.
Yeah. But I had the Barbie one like years later, and she had like a little crib with like a little glow in the dark stars on it and a little baby, and you put it in and like you like pull the little lever on the bottom of the crib and it would rock the baby back and forth. It was one of my favorite toys. I just distinctly remember that particular one. I have very, very particular. I'll be the ambassador for pet rescue at this point.
What Barbie stuff we had as kids?
Lots. lots and lots.
I didn't have as many. I was more of a mixed toy child. But I did have a few. I think most of them that I can at least remember, maybe because I have the tie-in of the movies, is that I had the movie ones, like I think I had Odette from Swan Lake, and I'm pretty sure I had a Rapunzel, because I very distinctly remember the hair being an issue of being knotted.
I was gonna say, were you one of those kids that like took really good care of your doll's hair? Because like I was super particular about making sure my doll's hair stayed perfect.
I wasn't like the deranged, like I didn't have any siblings or like brothers that like did anything deranged to them, like shaving their heads or anything. But
my brother would have died.
But
I would not have stood for that.
I did like brush them, but like over time they do just get a bit like icky. I don't know.
I was one of those kids that did not touch my doll's hair. Like if they came like pre-curled with like all the really like the gel, like a glue kind of thing, a spray in it.
Yeah.
I like looked after that so it stayed pristine, especially in my princess dolls. Like the Clara from the Nutcracker playline doll, I had her, she was one of my favorites. Like she looked just as good years later of play as she did the day she came out of the box.
Yeah. Other than that, I think I had maybe like the carriage.
Oh,
Princess and the Pauper. I don't think I had any big play sets, but I feel like if I did, I'm not sure if they were Barbie. You know, like I feel like I used my Barbies on play sets for other toys, but I don't know if I had a Barbie playset.
I had so many.
But that would be huge because the Barbie dolls are big.
Yeah.
So I think I had more like Polly Pocket ones.
Yes.
Because they were small.
I had the Polly Pocket cruise ship.
Oh my god.
I loved
Of
the
course you
cruise
did.
ship so much.
I had the little car one.
Oh.
The little with the open.
Yes.
I don't even know what it's called, but yeah, I had that. That was cute.
Try that again. When I was a kid, I had some of the Barbie play sets, but I had some of the original ones, like old vintage, like from the 80s or 90s, where it was like in the old like Avon style luggage cases that you would open out and it would be like a whole hotel room kind of thing. Yeah, like I said the other day. I had about like 4 or 5 of those, just different ones. And I had stables, I had like castles, I had like the dream house, the whole lot. And I would line them up in a big semicircle. I had a big semicircle and them lined up like in the living room, on my bedroom floor, like combined with all my Polly Pockets.
But did the Barbies fit?
Yeah, like, because obviously the play sets were huge.
Right.
So when the stables
I couldn't figure out the scale of the one you sent me the other day because it looked
Yeah.
small, but then I was like, if a Barbie's by the fireplace,
Yeah, well, if the Barbie
fireplace
dolls,
has to be big.
if the Barbie doll's about yay big, like the case itself would have opened out to be like that wide. Oh, they were huge. They were really big. So
Yeah.
I needed like a lot of floor space.
Yeah.
And like even the stables and that, like the Barbie horses are quite tall as you
Yeah,
know.
I do remember the
Yeah.
Barbie horses were big.
Well, the Barbie stables that I got given for my birthday, I think it was this particular year, like she had clearance sitting on the horse's back inside the stable
Oh my
still.
god.
Yeah, it was massive. I got Barbie sweater.
Oh my god, this one is nice. Is this from Connor?
Yes.
So what are we expecting from the movie?
Absolute magic. Only good things.
I haven't seen any of the trailers. I've tried to stay away from as much as I can, but
I don't know how you've done it. I've been living and breathing
I mean,
these trailers.
it's impossible. Like the trailers are easy enough to avoid because you just don't click on them, but the Instagram marketing is hard to avoid. Like when you're going through stories and it just pops up and I'm like, trying to get through it.
I've been living for it. It's just my little daily boost of serotonin. Every time I see some kind of like marketing for it, I'm just like, yes, there it is.
I didn't, like, when we decided we were gonna do this, I was like, oh, I'll be the one that doesn't watch anything because that's a good take. But I didn't realize it's gonna be so hard. Like, you know, like it's everywhere. Like I didn't know the marketing machine was gonna put this much into all of it. Like it's also at the shops. You can't avoid it. Like
It's wonderful.
it's everywhere. Like I was even trying to avoid who they'd cast. Obviously I knew Margot and Ryan Gosling are in it. But then I was like, I don't want to know who else is in it.
Do you want me to
No,
tell you?
I don't want to know, but I have
want
seen
spoilers?
I have seen like bits and pieces, and because I haven't watched the trailers, I'm like, how? Like what? So I am curious for that.
Well, you know what? The second the trailer dropped, I watched it about 5 or 6 times back to back.
Yeah, and you messaged me, and I was like, I'm not
yeah,
watching it.
yeah. I messaged her straight away. I'm like, Mia, it's dropped. You've got to watch this, and she's like, no, I'm not going to watch it. So I've had to fangirl by myself. Sad, but when the second trailer dropped, I also watched that about 6 times. And when I started finding the songs that they were using in the trailer, I like immediately started scouring the internet and my Spotify and added them to my playlist.
Because they've released like a whole album, right? I think I've only...
The album, I don't think it's released yet. It might be the next
now
couple of
because
days.
It came out yesterday, I think.
I think that maybe the album's dropping today.
Yeah.
But prior to this, I was literally like looking for the trailer music, like the background music they were using for the trailers, just so I can listen to that and like continue the hype.
Because the Dua Lipa song's out, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's
the
been out for a
main
bit.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they must be releasing the rest all together.
Yeah.
But I've heard that one because you keep putting it in things, and I can't avoid it.
I mean, how can I not, right? Like, if I'm gonna upload an artwork or make a post that's Barbie related, of course I'm gonna use the movie music.
Yeah. So I've heard that one, which is nice, and I do like Dua Lipa. And I think I saw a bit of the list of the artists that are included, but I did try and look away, but I did see a flash of like Ariana being there, and I was like, well, I do like me some Ariana Grande. So
They've spent the big bucks. So with all that said, it's now time for us to go to the movies. We will see you afterwards, and we'll share our thoughts with you on everything that we see.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. anyway, we are not able to separate. Spoilers, so I'm just gonna say spoiler warning for the whole thing.
If you haven't seen it yet, click away now.
And see it, and then come back.
Yeah, see the movie and then come
Definitely
back.
come back.
Yes.
Hello, Suey, and you.
And then we can all compare thoughts.
Yes. So we saw the movie at George Street Cinemas in Sydney. We totally didn't choose this location because of the photo moment they had.
No,
there.
definitely not. Definitely
No.
not.
So we saw there was like a Barbie box that you could take a photo in, and I had to book there because we needed that.
We needed to live our best Barbie moment. We had to see ourselves inside the great big box.
Yeah, and it was only like once it was past the ticket area, so we couldn't just go there and take a photo one
No.
day. You had to like kind of see a movie there. So
Yeah, it's like a paid experience.
yeah, almost. I mean, you could have seen Oppenheimer and gone to see the Barbie box, but like that's not the way to do it.
Yeah. my inner child was screaming. I don't know about you, but it's kind of all I ever wanted was to be like a Barbie doll as a
Yeah.
kid, and now I got to be like a
Yeah,
Barbie. It was wonderful.
great that they did that. What did we think of the movie itself?
Oh my
now we
God.
can start talking about it.
I loved every second of it.
I was surprised how good it was.
It was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, like
So funny.
it was funny. I mean, I am curious because I still haven't seen the trailer. Like how many jokes were in the trailer or not? Because that's
Yeah.
usually why I don't watch trailers.
I was like super pleasantly surprised. Like I said, I've watched the trailer like at least a dozen times, and like none of the jokes, maybe one or two at a stretch, were in the trailer, but the rest were like saved for the film, which is what I
Yeah,
think
that's pretty
really made the film that much better.
But I was surprised because there's so much hype going into this. I
Yeah.
was just kind of ready to be let down a bit.
Yeah.
And I knew a little bit because I heard like they made all the giant sets and everything was real. That I knew it was
Yes.
going to be a bit
And there was a world by
otherworldly, yeah, and
Yeah.
a bit strange.
Yeah.
And it was that, but it didn't.
But
well.
in the best
Like,
way, it
yeah.
was so good. I loved all like the shots where they've got like the plane flying overhead and we just zoom in on the pilot and then back to Margot, just driving down the street and then up into space to see the astronaut Barbies. And they're all like, "Hi, Barbie!" Like, I loved that.
I don't know how they managed to do it so well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy thinking about it.
It was like the ultimate suspend your belief or suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, because there were, I mean, if you haven't seen the movie and you're still watching the spoiler review, there are two parts of the movie. There's a real world part, which comes in about half an hour in.
I'd say probably like 3 if we break it down to the first
Yeah,
part.
but in
the
terms of
middle one, yeah.
location, there's
Oh,
the
yeah,
real
yeah.
world and then there's the Barbie land.
Barbie World.
Barbie world or Barbie land?
I think it was Barbie World.
Barbie world? Yeah. And due to how the story and the plot falls out, she has to leave and go to the real world. And I thought that was a weird premise. Like any movie doing that's a weird premise, but
Yeah.
they did it really well.
They did. They handled
Like,
it so well.
It's such a crazy idea, but it still worked.
I loved how when she's like, "Oh, well, how do I get to the real world?" And Weird Barbie was like, "Oh yeah, you've got to drive, and then there's like a tandem bicycle, and there's a boat, and there's a jet ski. Like, just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Just don't focus on it." And we're like, "Okay, cool." It's like they're acknowledging how strange the premise of it all is, and they're just saying, "Just don't think about it too much."
Yeah, and her
And it
saying
works
that,
so
my head was
well.
like, that's not gonna work. Like, it's gonna look weird. And then when it happened, it's like, oh no, it works. Like, I don't know.
Sidebar, I love how when they're driving the car like towards the real world for the first part of the transition, I love how they just zoom out and you see it's going at like 10 k's an hour. It's going
Oh,
so
God.
slow. I love it.
And they sang every time they were in
Yes.
the car some song that, are we supposed to know that? Did you know that song?
No, it sounded vaguely
the
familiar,
album,
but
maybe?
it's probably on the album.
Yeah. I don't know if we were supposed to know it, but yeah, every time
Yeah.
they were in the car, they sang like it was like a road trip type
Yeah.
thing, which was kind of cute.
Fantastic. And I love how Ken just kind of pops up in the back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she's like, "No, get out, go back." And he's like, "But I want to come with you." She's like, "Fine."
The whole opening sequence was
Yeah.
a very strange way to start it, but I think,
Oh man, I love
yeah.
that.
Okay, so let's
The
talk about
giant
that.
Margot.
Yeah, so like the opening sequence was, it started off very strange, and I think that was a good way to start it because it helps you get into this like sense of like how the rest of the movie's gonna
Yeah.
be. Like it actually starts out so weird that it almost gets normal. Like,
Yeah, you know what? I think that's
So-
probably a good way of putting it. It
Yeah.
starts so strange that everything after that, you're like, "Oh, this is significantly less weird, so I'm gonna accept it."
yeah, which is the best way to do it. It was, I don't know how to explain the start. It was very like 2001 Space Odyssey or that like rock moment and
Wait.
everything all at once. kind of thing. And then it became like almost like a brand ad after that.
It did.
Which I was like, oh, you started the movie almost, but
Yes, I have to say, I loved how when they started it, they ran through Barbie's like daily routine with her waking up and she's absolutely perfect, you know, not a hair out of place, her makeup's done, she looks phenomenal, which I wish we all had that experience, but you know. And then she gets up and she goes and has a shower and like there's no water coming out of the shower head,
Like,
but she looks like she's having the best shower of her life.
Like it's such a like perfect day moment, but then also there's the bit where she can't have any water.
Yes.
So like you know there's something odd going
Yeah.
on, and like but they're not
those
quite
little-
leaning into it just yet, and then they do like a second version later on when she starts getting a bit stranger. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, they are.
Well, like when she's trying to have breakfast and she goes to drink her milk and the cup's empty. And then when she's in the real world and then later on where she goes to like actually
they
drink
follow
something.
through on a lot of the
She just
stuff
throws a
they
cup of
start in
water.
the beginning in Barbie World that's like strange. And
Yeah.
you're like, that's strange, but I guess it's Barbie and it's toys, so that makes sense. But then when they go to the real world, they actually lean into the things that were strange.
You
which
know, the bit I
works.
really loved though was when they had her just floating down from the top level of her house just down to her car, like just perfectly. And they're like, oh yeah, no one walks their Barbie down the stairs. They just take them
Yeah.
from one location to another. And
There
I'm
was
like,
a lot of
yes, they do.
I feel like there was a lot of fourth wall breaking, but they also did it in a way that, as well, it started off small.
Yeah.
It was almost like the fourth wall breaking was them explaining why they were doing something a certain way. Like
Yeah.
if she just floated down to the ground, you'd be like, that's a bit weird, but okay.
Yeah.
But they explain like why they did that, kind of. But
I don't feel it was so much fourth wall break as much as exposition.
yeah. But then like later on,
Oh,
they
but
do
yeah, later
mention
on.
like the director's name. They mention
Yeah.
Margot Robbie's
Yes.
name.
Yeah, they
so,
do.
like, they do it a lot more, and it gets a bit more like, oh, that is not ever done in
Yes.
a movie almost. Like I don't even think Deadpool mentions Ryan Reynolds' name. Maybe once.
I think he does, like, yeah, maybe once or twice. And they reference him
like-
with the magazine as well.
Yeah,
Well,
in
Sexy
the whole
Spin.
beginning scene. But
Yeah.
like this was like kind of similar in that way as well.
Yeah. Speaking of Ryan's, can we acknowledge how incredible Ryan Gosling was as
He
Ken?
was very good.
I have no words. He was absolutely amazing. I was not expecting him to be as good as he was. I feel like he really found like his perfect role in a way.
Yeah, I
He
would say
brought
that
that
no one else
character
could
to
have
life.
played it, but there were a lot of Kens.
Yeah. But he brought that version of Ken, like Barbie's
Yeah.
Ken, he brought him to life so completely and so believably and so like humorously. I wasn't going to get the Perfect Day Ken doll before this, but after this film, I'm actually going to go out and get him to have him with my Perfect Day Barbie doll because I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I have really fallen in love with Ken in a way I have just never appreciated this doll before.
I think that's the point though. They even pointed that out. Like
Yeah.
Ken is just a side piece to Barbie
Yeah.
usually, but they kind of made him have his own moments in this
Yes.
movie. It's still definitely Barbie's movie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I think people will still have more of an appreciation for Ken, which
Yes,
is nice.
absolutely.
Did you have a favorite Ken, or is it just the Ken, the Ryan Gosling Ken?
And you know what? I really liked them all for their own reasons. I think I just did like just the Ryan Gosling classic Ken. Probably because he was like the main lead and had the most screen time.
Yeah, he
and it was
did.
just like genuinely really funny. I think out of favorite male leads, it would have to be that Ken. And I did really like Alan.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
he was
fair.
so funny.
But I mean, like the main Ken and Alan do have, I guess, the most personality. Like the
Yeah.
rest are just other versions.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Unlike the Barbies, where they did have kind of different personalities.
Yes.
Even though, did the other Kens have other names? Like I know he was Beach Ken, but they didn't really say what the other Kens were.
No, they were all just Kens except for Alan.
Yeah. So.
But I think that was kind of the point, is that Barbie was the focus, so she was like diverse and interesting in terms of like personality and like appearance and wardrobe and that, and there was really fantastic diversity and representation among the Kens. But I think the point is that, as we said before, Ken was still supposed to be Barbie's accessory in a way, kind of the side piece.
Yeah.
So he wasn't
though he-
as developed in terms of character and personality until the end.
Yeah, even though he did become a big part of the plot with the whole taking over part of thing, which I did not see. Is that in the trailer?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, the
my-
only thing that was in the trailer was when he goes to the hospital. It's like, I want to speak to a doctor.
So what
Let
was
me
the
do one
plot
appendectomy.
explained in the trailer?
So
Did they even kind of touch on the plot?
So the plot in the trailer was that Barbie is in Barbie Land, everything's perfect, and one day like her feet go flat and something weird's going on. And so she goes to see Weird Barbie, and Weird Barbie says to her, you have to go to the real world and make this right. And that's all we get. We don't we don't get anything else. We don't get Ken's restarting the patriarchy.
Pen and Ken and Ben.
We don't get Ken restarting the patriarchy because he discovers that, you know, it's a man's world in the real world.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
I think that would have been too much for the trailer. I think it's good that they had only that small bit, because that's only the first maybe half an hour. Like, it takes a bit to get to the real world.
Yeah.
And even once we get to the real world, they kind of have to figure out how the real world works before it gets to more plot part of the real, why they're there.
Yes.
So,
And I love how they reference Barbie as when she comes to the real world, she suddenly starts to get like more human emotions and is experiencing things like anxiety and like dread and whatnot. And they're like, oh yeah, so you're now existential crisis Barbie.
yeah, well, both
good.
both Ken and Barbie learn a lot
They do.
in the real world. Like, not like, I would say very quickly, but in a way that seems organic.
Yeah,
Like, it's
super
not
organic.
Awkward. Like, I don't know.
And
Yeah.
it's like, it's believable development because of the experiences they're having. So like, you know, Barbie coming from Barbie Land thinks that everything's wonderful and that everyone's, you know, gonna love her when she comes to the real world, and that women are doing, you know, what they're doing in Barbie Land. You know, it's great, all the opportunities, and, you know, they're powerful and leaders. And then she gets there and realizes it's not how it is. And Ken's having this sudden realization that, oh, so men run things. Well, this is great. Why are we not doing this?
Oh my god. But it is
a lot of
interesting,
horses.
yeah, because like when Barbie gets there, she takes a little bit longer to start the development, whereas when Ken gets there, it's like she's like, oh, and he just like absorbs like everything.
Yeah.
Which still makes sense because he goes there kind of like, he goes there to be with Barbie, but she's still not giving him time of day. So he's going there also in a way to find something else to fill that gap.
Yes.
So he quickly absorbs stuff, whereas Barbie thinks she's just trying to fix herself a bit and then go back home.
I think
She takes a while to like break down that things are not. She's trying to suspend the image she has of what the world is. She's still trying to make sure it's perfect, but it's not.
I think the real takeaway from the Barbie film is that it's one enormous story or lesson of like self-discovery and like personal growth.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they
everything
really nailed
else
it home at the
aside.
end with
Yeah.
that last scene, which was quite long, but it was good.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. But I am curious, like, we are all over the place with reviews, so sorry about that. But there's a
forgive
lot
us.
in this movie.
We are still processing what we've seen.
Yeah, there is a lot. What did we think of the actors?
Oh my god, I would sell my soul if they
You
keep
already
making these
said
movies.
that Ryan Gosling was a standout. for
He was an
you.
amazing
Did you go in? The only thing you knew Margot Robbie would be good, like.
Oh, I've been a Margot
but
fan
Ryan
my
Gosling
whole
you
life.
weren't sure of, and you were convinced.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
I was also convinced. I also did like Margot Robbie, even though I'm not usually a fan, but I did like her in
Margot.
this. She was very good and very convincing. Like,
extremely convincing.
to be a toy in the beginning and then slowly kind of become a human and then actually, spoiler, become a human at the end. Like, I believe it. So
like the way that she presented herself, the way she stood, and oh my god, seeing the scene where she takes her shoe off and her foot stays like perfectly. Oh yes.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, perfect. What about the other actors?
I think they all did a really great job. You know who I was not expecting to do a good job, but I was pleasantly surprised by? Will Ferrell.
Oh yeah, I was surprised that I didn't know he was in this. That was one of the people I didn't know.
I was expecting, like, from the trailers, him to be a bit of like a tyrant kind of character, like as the, you know, the CEO of Mattel. I was not expecting much of anything really from his character other than kind of just, being the bad guy.
Yeah.
Totally not what he is. Like,
it was a strange character.
he's a
because
very strange character.
He wasn't playing straight like evil, and he wasn't playing like I am patriarchy, but like kind of in between. Like, he was acknowledging some things, but he also was like, I still want to stay in power. I don't want to just put a woman in my spot. So it was very odd, but it felt like a little bit more realistic. Whereas some of these movies just go straight evil or good. So it is nice. I was surprised to see him though, because he was in the Lego movie and he's in this one, and I'm like, well, you can't have the two of them ever come together now because that would be odd.
Yeah, we can't have a cinematic crossover. That's been ruined.
Kind of the toy universe, so, but probably a good thing.
Yeah.
But
I thought all the actors did a really fantastic job. To me, they all just completely disappeared into their roles. They were fantastic. I didn't feel at any point taken out of the film by any of their acting.
there were a lot of actors in this film, full stop.
Yeah,
Like,
a lot of characters. You kind of, gonna need a bit of a bingo sheet if you plan on keeping up with them all.
yeah, and a lot of cameos as well. Like Dua Lipa popped in for a few scenes, not just one. She was in the disco scene, she was in a few of the beach scenes.
Yeah.
I guess when they were trying to get everyone to not be in the patriarchy, she was also appeared. John Cena popped up for a hot
John
second.
Cena cameo, that was unexpected.
That was random.
But I mean, we do love just a good random John Cena cameo just for the sake of a laugh. That man is up for literally anything.
And they had the cameos you were talking about the Barbie creators.
Yes.
2 of them? What were the different ones?
So, Ruth Handler
is
the lady who created Barbie in the first place.
Like, she designed them, or she actually just made the whole idea?
No. She is the creator and designer of Barbie. Like, she's the one who dreamt up Barbie and made her real.
Yeah, because her kid's name was Barbara, right?
Yeah. And then the old lady sitting on the park bench during one of the first scenes when Barbie gets to the real world, and she's sitting there and she says, "Oh, you're so beautiful." That's Barbara. That is the daughter of Ruth. Like, who Barbie was modeled after all, or made for. So that was a really, really special cameo. I'm, completely touched that they added that in. Too much dog. A lot of dog in this.
But yeah, it was nice they had the 2 cameos, and they both had quite a bit of time. They weren't just like a wave in the background.
No.
Or just, like how some movies just like, give a ticket to the main character or something, or take a photo for someone, or they're always in the wedding bits in a lot of films. They're always just like in the background in a wedding. There's no wedding in this movie, but that's usually when they do it.
It wasn't a Stanley
they both
pop-up
said
cameo.
One of them they said like they actually talked to Barbie a little bit, and the other one actually was in it and then came back and did more of a scene, which I was surprised that she came back.
The scene at the end where Barbie is talking to Ruth about being Barbie and what that means and how she thinks that she wants to be human. It was just one of the most beautiful scenes that I have seen in a film for a long time. It was extremely heartfelt, incredibly moving. I was, very misty-eyed, trying very hard not to cry because she was gonna pick on me if I did.
You brought tissues, not for sneezing, but for crying.
Look, I have the emotional integrity of tissue paper. I am not good. I cry at absolutely everything. So when I was hearing from other people that it could be a bit emotional, I'm like, I've got to be prepared for this because...
I mean, I guess if you heard about it being emotional, then that makes sense.
So, I mean, I always have tissues in my bag just in case.
I do
always
too, but not for
potential.
crying.
But it was a very beautiful, very touching moment. I don't want to spoil it for anyone because if you watch the film, you will be able to experience that beautiful and impactful moment.
It definitely is more impactful after going through the whole journey, so we won't talk about that bit.
There was a really beautiful quote
it's a good way
that
to
she
tie
said.
it off, though.
Oh yeah, there was a beautiful quote she said to her about mothers and daughters, and that
it always makes people cry.
Oh man, that just hit really differently.
Oh my god.
So yeah, if you're a bit of a soft one like me, take some tissues just in case because it is very emotional at the end. So yeah, I don't know about you, but it reminded me so much of my own childhood growing up and playing with my Barbies and my mum playing with my dolls with me and like setting up, massive big like cities, I suppose, with all the play sets that I had, and it just really brought all those moments like back into stunning clarity for me. Yeah. And that was another thing that really like touched my heart.
I do like that the moments they showed weren't all happy moments. Because that's not childhood. That's not real life. Like,
no, it's not.
Especially because this was supposed to be the real world.
Yes.
It was good that they had moments that were like, they were nice and they were playing toys, and then when she got older, like the mum still wanted to like, play toys and, bring back all this nice memories and stuff. And obviously she's growing up, the daughter. So,
yeah, and the daughter was like, I'm too cool for all this
Too cool
now.
for this, but the mum still wanted to like hang on to it. So I like that. It was sweet. And then the mum decided when they were trying to throw away like old things or
donate
give
all
them
the old
to
dolls.
salvos or whatever, to keep the Barbie, and I guess she ended up with it.
Yeah.
So it was sweet.
It was, yeah. And I really liked that they didn't sugarcoat a lot of things like that in this film.
Yeah.
With talking about things like anxiety and depression and, you know, having a tough time at life. Like, yes, a lot of it was delivered in very fun, you know, bite-sized little quips and whatnot, but it was
But they
still
didn't make
addressed.
sure that it was a serious
Yeah.
matter. Like they
Yeah.
would come back and say no, but this is like
Yes.
not
Yes.
We're laughing about it now, but
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a real thing.
It was delivered in a really fantastic and thoughtful way. Like, definitely within the realm of comedy, but it was thoughtful comedy. And I liked that because, especially for as a woman, which America addresses, you know, further on into the film, there is a lot of polarizing pressures and opinions, like for how we go about life. And so to have that dealt with in a serious but still light-hearted way opens up room for a lot of conversation. This movie definitely gets a 10 out of 10 for me. It will be a considerable amount of rewatches in my future.
I also do want to rewatch because there's so much to see, and we're not doing a very good job of explaining the plot, but there's just so much going on. There's not so much plot. Like, as we've said, it is a great movie, and I think there is a good amount of everything. But I feel like there's a lot of scenes where there's a lot of like Easter eggs in the background. Like, we didn't see anything that was relating to the movies like we were hoping, like the Barbie movies. But I'm sure maybe if you pause at a certain section, someone will find something.
I love it when there's like a couple of scenes there, like where Ken's throwing some items off the roof of Barbie's dream house, and then they're all like fashion items, like different pieces of clothing. And as they're throwing them out, we're getting a freeze frame of that article of clothing and like what edition it was. So let's just say it was like, you know, like the paisley print pants or whatever, or like the foam mink coat or whatever. And they're from like specific sets or like specific dolls, and they like caption it as it goes flying past.
Yeah, and obviously mentioning all the discontinued Barbies.
Oh yes.
Which when America's character like sees a lot of them as well. When she gets there, she recognizes a lot of Barbies.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I had this one, and that was discontinued.
And they'll have like a quick little remark about like why video Barbie was not a good idea, or why the big boob Barbie was a bit of a stranger.
growing up Skipper's in it. So
which a lot of those ones that they reference,
Sugar Daddy Ken.
Yeah, a lot of the ones that they reference during the movie, if you didn't grow up with Barbie and you're not sure what the heck is going on, because I'm sure some people aren't. I mean, I recognize a few, but didn't know all of them. They appear again in the credits.
Yes.
In that first credit bit where they don't have like the black background, the normal credit bit.
Yeah, it's for sure worth watching the start of the credits because it actually shows
a
the
lot
dolls
of those,
that were the
ones that
discontinued
they talked
ones.
about. Yeah.
My favorite little thing though was Midge is pregnant in the film, and that's in reference to. Like I can't remember what the exact doll was called, but it was the one with Midge being pregnant with the magnetic belly you could take off, so you could take the baby out.
And that was definitely
discontinued
from our childhood, because I had one of those and I remember it. She wasn't wearing the dress that she wore in that outfit, so I was like, oh, I don't know.
I kind of wish they'd given her that dress.
But then the credits they did, and I was like, oh, I recognize that.
Oh, I love that when Will Ferrell and his characters, his like boardsmen get to Barbie World and they see her. And he just like has a moment where he's like, he's like, oh, Midge, we discontinued you. and then just keeps going. Like, I laughed so hard at the cinema at that. I really liked that moment.
It would be interesting to see the count of how many Barbies they talk about, like discontinued and not discontinued, because there were a lot. It's almost like they did everything except mention the movies, which is fine. I don't think they were avoiding it, because why would you avoid it? But I think it is hard to work in. Because they're more on the toy side of things, which is fine.
Yes.
There's like posters in the background or something
There might be.
like people will find when they watch this 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Or
The only
have it
thing
at
that
home.
I saw that could potentially have been something, and is very likely not, it's probably more part of the entire outfit, which is a callback to something else, was in the final scene, we see Margot's Barbie, she's wearing a gold love heart locket necklace. and that reminded me a lot of Clara's necklace from the
Oh,
Nutcracker.
true, yeah. I was looking at that, I'm like,
Yeah.
is that a reference or is
Yeah.
that just something she wore?
Well, the Nutcracker was the first Barbie film.
yeah,
So
that could be.
I was looking at it going, is that a callback to Clara's locket from the
Because the
Nutcracker?
locket was a big part of that movie as well.
Oh, it was
wasn't
the entire plot device.
Yeah, so maybe that was. Because
I'm-
they also did that close up.
Yes, well, also, it could very well be a callback because if you remember at the end of the Nutcracker, Clara's locket had the ability that when it was opened, it would send her back to the real world.
Oh,
And-
that must be a reference.
And then
Surely,
Margot
that can't not
chooses
be.
to join the real
real
world
world in
as a
that time.
human. So
Yeah.
it makes me wonder if potentially that little heart is supposed to be Clara's locket and her choice to join the human world is in reference to Clara being sent back when the locket was opened. I would really love it if it was.
I definitely think you're on
Yeah.
the ball. For
Hey,
that.
I'm
I
like a
don't know what the
Barbie
saying is.
bloodhound, right? I'm sniffing out all the clues.
I think that has to be it. I'm sure we'll see in a few days that
Yeah.
that's one of the references.
Oh, I hope so. And you know what? If it isn't officially like claimed to be, I'm still gonna live with that as my favorite fan theory.
Was there anything we didn't like?
No.
I didn't like that they mentioned the BBC Pride and Prejudice and not the Keira Knightley one.
Of course you would.
Because Keira Knightley one is the one I like. But close enough.
I can't think there's anything I didn't like. I love the film top to bottom.
Yeah, I can't think of anything now.
I've never suffered so much secondhand embarrassment for a character like I did for Ken through the entire film, but I loved every second of that horrible, cringy experience. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I can't think of anything, and I don't know if I'll think of anything in the next few days or anything either. I think it's just that Pride and Prejudice wasn't straight on for me, but
Mr. Darcy wasn't what you were expecting.
yeah, he's not my Mr. Darcy, but it's okay.
You're a worry.
My current obsession for the video. This time's current obsession for me is the TV show on Prime Video called The Summer I Turned Pretty. I recently watched this because the second season came out and I hadn't seen any of it, so I binge watched the whole first season in like a day, and then I caught up on what had been released of the second season. Currently there's 4 episodes out. I think they come out on Fridays. I highly recommend. I'm not kidding when I say all the music in this show is literally my playlist. It's Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
Olivia Rodrigo, a lot of music from like Heartstopper, which I had put in my playlist because I love the music from that show as well.
It's very good
And
music.
when I was watching the show, my partner would come out and be like, "Oh, are you listening to music?" And I was like, "No, it's the show. It's just playing my playlist."
The show
I've
is
never had
popping
this
off.
before. Like, I did like the music in Heartstopper, and I loved that show, but I hadn't listened to any of it before, so I discovered it then.
Yes.
But these are all songs that I'm actively listening to. Like,
Yeah.
it really felt like the person who was in charge of picking the music for the show was our age. Like, you know, like they didn't have
Yes.
a boomer doing it. Like,
There's definitely
it was,
some younger people on board with this one.
yeah, it was great music. Other than that, the story is amazing. Obviously, I love it because I binged through it so quickly. If you like To All the Boys on Netflix, the movies, and
it was a good film.
and if
I've
you
only
like
seen the first one,
Heartstopper, you will like this. It's a similar kind of thing, very wholesome. It's a love story, kind of like kind of a love triangle, but there's a few different like options, but it's not.
Don't spoil it, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you haven't
It's
seen
on
it.
my to-watch list. I've been hounded by this one to watch it.
But yeah, I'm not sure how many episodes the second season will have, but yeah, great show. The whole cast is great. I don't really recognize any of the cast
Oh, really?
from anything else. They all seem like newcomers. I love that the lead is Asian American. I always love shows that have mixed main characters, so I can see a little bit of me in the story. But yeah, it's great. I'm recommending it for you to watch it and for everyone else to watch it because it's really good. It is on Amazon Prime, so you'll have to
Yeah.
get Amazon Prime to watch it, but I highly recommend Prime Video to go see it.
Well, thank you for the stellar recommendation.
No
I
worries.
will be adding that to my to-watch list while
Yes.
I'm working on the next lot of items for conventions.
Yes. And what is your current obsession?
Oh my gosh, okay. So my current obsession, well, I mean, I've been living and breathing Barbie, so...
Besides the Barbie movie, let's not.
Okay, I mean, like, obviously my little Barbie cup that I picked up from Typo has been with me every day of my life since. I saw these getting spoil released from the Singapore Typo a few weeks back, and then Typo announced that they were coming to Australia, so I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
I scheduled in my calendar the day they were released.
Oh my God.
And you can bet I was down at my local shopping centre that afternoon.
Are they
I
still
rang
available?
them. I rang them in the morning to check if they got the stock in, and I went down the afternoon and picked them up.
They're still available?
I think some stores still have some stock. It's been a very popular release.
Yeah, and they're dishwasher proof?
They are dishwasher proof, yes.
So far, you have washed it quite a few times, I would say, by now.
Yeah, no, as far as just speaking from my one, it has survived several washes so far.
Yeah.
They have like the tightest sealing lid of any cup I have ever come across. Like, I have to get somebody else to open this for me because it is an incredibly tight seal. But it's a double wall cup, so I can put hot drinks or cold in it and they stay respective
it looks pretty
temperature.
good quality because usually some of those cups
Yeah.
are a bit flimsy.
Yeah, really nice
But
quality.
yeah, no, it looks good. And for the fact that it's been in the dishwasher a few times,
Yes.
it looks new.
Yeah, for sure. No
So-
complaints, no complaints.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you're a Barbie fan, go and grab one. If you can still get a hold of one, they are definitely worth the money. I think it was about $30.
Yeah, it sounds about right because
Yeah.
it looks good quality as well. And
Yeah.
it's a big size. Like it's what, like a
Yeah.
Starbucks venti.
There you go, 650
Size.
mils according to the little tag on the back. Or if you're American, 21.97 fluid ounces.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means.
I'm sorry, Americans. But yeah, that's our recommendations. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out Lazy Fox Art on Instagram and everything else. We'll put it all up on the screen and there'll be links.
Come see me if you like Barbie
She
or
has
anything like
so
that.
much Barbie stuff. There's definitely a reason why we had her for this review.
I mean, this is not a new obsession. I've been living and breathing this franchise for like 26 years now. So
she's not hopping on the craze. She was she was
I've
in the
been-
craze for a long time.
I've been here since the dust.
Yeah. She never stopped.
No, never stopped.
Yeah. And she has, just check out all her stuff. It's all available.
Thank you for the
And
recommendation.
she has Barbie movie stuff as well.
Oh yes,
a few
Barbie
prints.
princesses and like the ballerinas, some of the newer stuff too, and the new movie as well.
Yes. And I will hopefully have some Barbie inspired earrings up on my shop soon. So look for them as well.
I was gifted by the lovely Mimi some beautiful Barbie inspired earrings. I'm sure we can get a closer shot of them, but I have been
I'll
wearing
put them
these
up on the screen.
everywhere.
I'll be putting those up and maybe some disco balls and some love heart ones.
Yes.
So we'll have 3 different types hopefully.
If you're a Barbie girl, jump on them. They are
Yes. But
perfect for all your Barbie needs.
please comment your favorite Barbie movie or favorite moment if you saw the movie. But maybe don't spoil anything in case someone is watching to see if they want to see it.
Yes.
And let me know if you want to see more reviews like this, or if you want this girl back, or if don't say mean things. Don't just say if you want her back.
I was gonna say.
No, don't say you don't want her.
Please, I'd love to come back.
But yeah.
Yeah, if
Thank
you'd
you
love
guys.
if you'd love to see us again, we'd be happy to do this again.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, it was great fun. Right.
Thank you so much for
Bye,
watching.
guys. And cut.
Oh my God.
And whoop. And
I
whoop.
swear to God, if that like,
Whoop. Whoop.
I'm glad I'm getting this one.
Whoop. Whoop. Oh, you're such a good girl.